everybody, how are you? And hope you're having a lovely day. We are here with It's a Love Thing talk show. My name is Lady J. Royal Diamond, and I am your host for today. And this is my co-host.
Hello, I'm Doug Payne, and it's an honor to be here on It's a Love Thing for this particular important program.
We are interviewing Dr. A.V. Henkins, M.D., F.A.C.P., M.S.F.D., M.P.A. She is going to be talking today about ACES Museum and Acting of Hope, her book that she just published. She is also, and I want everybody to see this, she is also the leading physician of the world of 2020. That's a wonderful thing. We are now going to turn over the cameras to Dr. Henkins, and we just want to give her a big applause because she's doing some dynamite, phenomenal things. Dr. Henkins?
Hello, thank you for coming.
We would like you to talk about a little bit about Acting of Hope, your War book that you have just came out with the minority veterans, and we know that you can explain some things to us about your book. Also, Dr. Henkins is located at ACES Museum for Veterans, 5801 North Germantown Avenue, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19144, where her location is at. Dr. Henkins, we would like you to talk about your Acting of Hope, World War II Black minority for veterans.
Well, the book Acting on Hope, World War II and Black and Minority Veterans was completed so that we can excite people about themselves. There's a apathy and a depression and a listlessness among young people, and we feel that's one of the reasons is because of they don't have that historical connection. And if they only could appreciate the people that fought and died for them, and they knew they would never benefit, but they did it for them, they would know how precious they are to us. And that love is an action verb. If you really care for somebody, you should actually show it. And these people showed it, and we try to show it at ACES Museum. ACES is located at 5801-3 Germantown Avenue, which is the site of Parker Hall. And Parker Hall was a black USO in the 1940s. In the 1940s, things were legally segregated, so blacks could not go to white USOs and get support for their veterans and their families, so they created their own spot, and this is one. And for over a decade, we've been fighting for the building not to be torn down or made into unnecessary condos because we feel this historical site should be preserved. Also, when we did the museum, my father, Tommy David Henkins, Dawab Muhammad, and Manuel Lorenzo, the first Hispanic commandant, were some of the founding fathers, and they felt that this was not a time, if we were going to tell the history, you're going to tell the history correctly. And we wanted to integrate, we wanted to tell the whole story. Because when you know the story of the wonderful people that fought for World War II and democracy, little d, democracy, the concept that all men are created equal is why ACES is here, why World War II is why important, and why we want you to feel the importance too.
Doctor, thank you for inviting us to be here for this very important interview. My question is, what was your objective to even start the book?
Well, I've been writing a book for like 2 years on history as the director of the museum because it's fascinating to me. But unfortunately, history is fascinating to people. It's fascinating too. The idea is that how do you excite people? How do you excite people to this wonderful knowledge that they should have? I took a class at Harvard University, Education X, EX. I'm doing a commercial for it because it's free.
Wow.
Okay? You only have to pay if you want to keep the certificate. You can go there and get computer programming lessons, archiving lessons, everything. And there's also another program called Allison, ARSON, and it's run by a billionaire. I tell all of my students, go there and take the classes first, and then take your classes in college, you'll automatically get honors. But anyway, that's an aside. When I took the class, they wanted us to do museums differently. Okay, rather than going and saying, oh, this is a wonderful, unique thing, we have a tourniquet from World War II, which is very rare.
Yeah.
What's the social relevance of that? Well, in our book, we talk about the tourniquet being associated with Dr. Charles Drew. And Dr. Drew was a black physician that invented how to preserve blood plasma.
From Howard University.
Okay, so millions of people were made alive from Dr. Charles Drew, who was never acknowledged. In addition to that, when he did the blood plasma, they were segregated the Red Cross in the United States. So he had to go to Britain. Okay, so he had to go to Britain with his blood plasma. But, like you said, he came back.
Right.
He came back and talked to Howard. My father, Dwight Muhammad, was elected to go and rebuild Nagasaki in Japan. Wow. He came back.
Wow.
These people came back to racial discrimination when they could have had nice little lives overseas, yes, because they wanted to fight for the greater good of their people. And all of the people in this book not only fought for the greater good for their people, but the mystery, the beauty, and the love of America is for all people. All people are created equal in the United States of America. We just haven't lived up to that.
Yes.
Right.
But all people are created equal.
Yes.
This is true.
Can you give us some of your plans that you have for the museum as far as the future of the museum?
Well, God willing, and I can say that as a person, as a director, I can't. But God willing, what we will continue to do is grow and prosper, and the book will be part of that.
Okay.
As you read the book and you see the artifacts, hopefully you'll actually want to see the artifacts in person. And then you'll learn the particular history of each thing, why it's important. We at ACES also help the current veterans. We were so successful with our Vietnam veterans that we were awarded the Vietnam Memorial Plaque. And you'll see it out there. It's an 800-pound structure that came from the Inquirer magazine. Right. So when the Inquirer and Daily News moved to the suburbs, they wanted some place that would preserve the plaque, and we wanted. The veterans voted for us because they felt comfortable here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, someone said that veterans were suckers, and the people that care for them are suckers.
Yeah.
And they came and they pushed the Vietnam plaque on the ground and scratched it up. But the blessing happened. The man who put the Rocky statue up came and solidified it so it would never move.
Awesome.
Well, Dr. Henkins has said, and it is definitely true, about you always honor the veterans throughout the course of the year. When holidays come up, you always do things for the veterans. You have, you honor them with trophies or some type of pendant that you would give to them for whatever branch that they're from. And you bring in great entertainment. You feed them throughout the course of that particular day, even with ACES Museum, even doing things for them that they're in needs from before. And I wanted to know, in your heart, what make you do these things? Because you're very phenomenal and you're a very caring person. As we see now, you're very emotional about what things have happened to veterans. A little bit within your heart, why do you do these things?
Well, this is exactly why I want you to read the book, Acting on Hope, because it's not me.
Okay.
It's not me at all. I mean, when you read this book, you will understand that what I do, like it says in the Bible, is just rags compared to what these people did.
Yeah.
Yes.
To what people were doing.
Yes.
What do? We feed, we honor, we respect people that are saying, I'm going to leave my children, I'm going to leave my family, I'm going to expose myself to death and diseases so that you can sleep at night. You got to think about that. We have a puppet show called The Big George Tailors, and it's about the blacks that served in the Army in World War II and,
yes,
the Air Force in Korea War.
Okay.
And the Angelo Torres puppet has difficulty sleeping, and so his mommy says, you know, don't you understand people sacrifice so you could sleep?
Right.
You know, and bringing us to today, there are people that are not going to let us sleep. If you get a private army in the United States of America, you talking about problems with the police? Those protesters in Portland, one of the veterans got his hand stepped on and crushed. Mm-hmm. And what was his crime? Protesting for justice. If this becomes the law of the land, then the land changes. So what we're saying is we want the land to change, but we want the land to change in the spirit of democracy so that all men are really created equal.
Yes.
And not the land to change that there's only a few people and you have no rights. There are over 500 orphans right now. And I get emotional because people need to get emotional. You know, people say, oh, you can't be emotional in the good doctor. Quite the contrary. I have one of the highest salvage rates in the entire country. That's why I'm the leading physician of the world, because I get emotional.
Yes.
Right.
People are people. We need to care. There are 500 orphans now because our government took them from their family, threw them on the ground with some aluminum foil because their only crime was coming to America to try to be better.
Get a better life.
We're not comfortable with that. We had a person come here and say, well, we will help ACEs if it's all black. We're not comfortable with that. Loving black is not hating white. You know, loving black is loving black.
Right.
Yes.
And that is simply, you ask why we do this? We can't even begin. When Manny Lorenzo, the first Hispanic commandant, came back from Puerto Rico, they recruited them in Puerto Rico. They couldn't get any benefits because they weren't in Spanish. When my father, Dwight Muhammad, and them came back, they couldn't get any benefits. They had to sleep on the floor in the Y. He went on to form the UAW. Cesar Chavez, when they came back, they couldn't get any benefits. They had the pickers out there $14, $15 a day. He set up the union. Senator Inouye, Japanese, lost his arm. His family was locked up because they were Japanese.
Wow.
They put the Germans, took them to movies and what have you. Lena Horne, who you never associate with civil rights, was bad, okay? She told the United States Army, I am not going to perform if you got German soldiers in front of the Negro soldiers. So did the Duke. The Duke said, I am not performing for you, and this is in the Smithsonian.
Okay.
Because you actually record the white entertainers so that they have albums, but you don't record the black entertainers.
Yes.
So these are the things that people came back and they fought, and because they fought, they got benefits. We have benefits. You'll see a picture of Frank Sinatra up here. People say, why do you have Frank Sinatra and ACEs? Because Frank Sinatra, Betty Davis, John Garfield, they said that the Hollywood canteen would be for all veterans regardless of their color.
I remember
That's
that.
right.
So in the 1940s, when the Red Cross was segregated, when the military was segregated, the Hollywood canteen wasn't. And in the 1950s, some of these people got branded as communists and couldn't get a job. Frank Sinatra was one of them. He just happened to go with Ava Gardner or the mafia, depending on who's telling the story.
Yeah.
But he could not get a job because he stood for black veterans. That's why Frankie's
Stood up.
here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's why
Yes.
the book is here.
Yeah.
Because we need to stand up. We need to not be pimpettes.
Yes.
There are pimps in this world
Yes.
that feel that they are just merit your life, your work, your money just because they're who they are.
Yes.
Sometimes it's skin color, sometimes it's money, sometimes it's bloodline. I don't accept that
Yes.
because I'm not a pimpette.
Yes.
Okay.
Because a pimpette says, I can't live without the pimp. You can have my body, you can have my money, you can have my soul. So I'm saying we need to stop being pimpettes. We are United States citizens.
Yes.
Right now we have the right to vote. Guess what? That's not going to be in the future, and they're making it hard now, but right now we have the right to vote. One man, one vote. United States of America. Democracy for all. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm doing it. And I count as rags
Awesome.
all of the sacrifices I've had to make. I count as rags.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, because when you read in there, you read about Princess Khan, who just got a statue 8 years ago. She was a princess, an Indian princess. She left England to become a spy for the French resistance. And when you see the fur in there, that's what's referring to her.
Right.
Because they were getting ready to throw her in the furnace. And she didn't crack. She threw her fur down and said, Vive la France. And we say, Vive la France.
Yes.
Okay.
Doc, I want to ask this question. Can you give us the message that you would like to give to the youth and what they would probably get by reading your book?
The reason we're doing this is because there's a lot of documented depression and apathy and just listlessness among young people. And part of that actually needs therapy. So if you can't function, the first thing I say is that you should have professional help. There's no shame in professional help. One of the chapters we have in the book is Audie Murphy,
Okay.
who is the #1 decorated. They couldn't even give him more decorations. And at that time, they called it battle fatigue. And he came out in the 1960s and said, we need to have help for our veterans. I need help. And that was very big back then, because then you were supposed to be macho man. And now that meant you have mental illness. Right now, it's incorporated. It's called invisible wounds.
Okay.
So we actually go to classes as SAC Armor to help our veterans with their invisible wounds. But what I would like to tell the young people is that there are people that fought and died for you. They never were going to see you, but they loved you. And their love was an action verb. And there's some things you can do yourself to make your life better. But don't say you don't matter. Don't say voting doesn't matter, because it's all that matters right now.
Yes, it matters. Yes.
And read the book. And I'm not doing it as a plug for my book, but I am doing it as a plug for my book.
But it's a good message for the youth.
I'm saying because I can tell you my story.
Yeah.
But my story is not relevant when you look to read these.
Right. Right.
Okay, Dr. Henkins. This is the book that Dr. Henkins is talking about that she wrote and she published. This is Acting on Hope. So we're going to ask you a couple of questions, Dr. Henkins, on how people can purchase this book from you. You have to read it. It tells you so much of things that Dr. Henkins have talked about, and even things that she hasn't been able to talk about, because you know this is a show and it only has limited a time. But if you purchase the book, it has so many great history details that's going on with this book. I already purchased 10 of these books so I could get for my family and friends, and they're enjoying every bit of it, and some of their people are even purchasing the book themselves. I know Doug Payne will be getting the book.
Definitely getting one.
Okay. We have our producer, that's Brad Jolly. He's going to be getting a book. And we have another member of our talk show, Bernard King, that's going to be getting a book.
That's right.
Okay? So what we need to do, that's Bernard King. He already put his hand up. Yay, yay, yay. Okay, going to be getting it. And we're going to go back to Dr. Henkins, giving her a hurrah.
All right.
Okay, for this beautiful book she has written and published. Then we're going to go on a little tour for ACES Museum. Dr. Henkins, can you please let everybody know about your lovely
and again, the title is very important because it's Acting on Hope, World War II and Black and Minority Veterans. That's all some of these people had. When Princess Khatun jumped into the oven, she knew her life was over, but she had to believe that the sacrifices that she was making would make a difference. And what I say to people to read this, and for our young people, it made a difference.
Yes.
It made a difference. Are you walking around? Can you choose your clothing?
It made a difference.
Okay.
Yes.
In youth league, you could not. We have a puppet show about that. Rocket the dog that saved color. The Marine Devil dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What Hitler's youth league was, everybody had to wear brown. So if you wanted to wear blue or green or whatever, you got thrown into prison. Can you wear your colors now? Are you in jail where you can only wear orange? This is not an esoteric fantasy discussion. This is real life.
Yes.
This is real life people. And this is real life people now. For those of you to say, oh, it doesn't matter, everybody's the same. Excuse me, you are a pimpet. You are letting somebody else take your freedom from you, take your value from you, take your vote from you. Because no means yes to the other people.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that doesn't vote, you're voting for them.
Go vote.
So don't let a pimp tell you when I was a medical student, I had a young lady, happened to be white, and her pimp happened to be black, and she was full of pus, getting ready to die. So I asked him, because you got to ask the pimp, can she stay in the hospital a couple of more days? Because she's not going to be any use to you if she drops dead. And you know what this man said to me? He said it's more where that comes from.
Oh my goodness.
And I asked her, I said, can you stay in the hospital a couple of days? She said, no, I got to do what my daddy says. A lot of prostitutes I ran into, the reason they were prostitutes because they had been molested by their family, so what's the big difference?
Yeah.
So the only affection this woman, this young girl knew was a man who saw her as a piece of items.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, don't be a pimpette. Make your own decision. Go and vote. Take some people with you. Read the book. Read the book for several reasons. Number one, I need to move out of my apartment. Number two, we need to have money for ACEs. But the big three is we need to always value the struggles of people. And if you can't get involved, because that's okay, everybody's not everything, support your church, support your mosque, support your Santa Claus, support the NAACP, support the people that are doing the work that you can't do. I can't do a lot of things because I'm working a lot, but I try to support the other people. And if it wasn't for Lady J and her whole production and Cowboy, we wouldn't have the quality of entertainment we have. But I tell you, when you come here for our program, you could be going to Vegas.
Wow.
You get the same show for free. And all you have to do if you don't believe us, Aces Museum on YouTube. It shows you everything that we've done. And our programs are outstanding and is made with a wing and a prayer and faith because love is an action verb. And if you don't know somebody loves you, they don't. Because you should see love, you should feel it, and you should taste it. And we love our veterans.
Yes.
Because they loved us first.
Yes. Okay, so did you say how they can purchase your book?
Payhip.com, you can buy it, download it, or Amazon. And the hard copies will be here on Veterans Day,
Yes.
November the 11th.
Yes.
And also in 4 weeks, we will be getting the link where you can just buy it everywhere.
Good.
But that's 4 weeks from now, and we didn't want to wait. We wanted the book out before the election.
Election day.
Okay, and we want you to buy it. We don't want you to download it and copy it for your friends. It's only $10. We need the money to do stuff, okay? It's a real battle that we're in. It's a real battle that I'm in. A lot of people are not happy. You know, just like trying to take over Pimp's Corner, okay? It's a battle. And I give you that analogy because I am from inner city Detroit, okay? And you ain't seen, corruption till you see inner city Detroit. But one thing I learned about the drug dealers, they respected me. They respected me for the work that I was doing. They just told me to get out of town, which is why I moved East Coast. But we still doing the work. And my point is to you, this is but rags for what these remarkable people did. And the love I wish I could find. You know, I'm not blessed with holy matrimony. I've been blessed with mess. But these people, they really were deaf through their part. And I went out of my way to include 3 love stories from black men and black women because you never see that.
No, you don't.
You never see
Never.
black people loving each other.
Right.
And 3 fantastic couples in this book stayed together till death did their part,
Awesome.
including my mother and father that died within months of each other. And he was a Muslim and she was a Christian. And they asked how could they stay together. And what she said is faith is what you do, not what you say. And they together raised 9 of us with a whole lot of other different religions, but most important, all of us serve the good, and good is God. And even if you don't believe in good, God, if you believe in good, you're serving God.
That's
right.
And that's more important
Amen.
than saying you believe in God, but don't do good.
That's
Right.
right.
Okay, so to know
right.
to do good and not do it is a sin. People don't understand that. I quote a lot of scripture because I read a lot of scripture
That's
because
right.
it gets me sane.
Yes.
But it's irrelevant if I read scripture or I quote scripture. The question is, what do I do?
Right.
And what I try to do
It's the
is
most important
good.
part.
It's your
Yes,
walk.
what you do.
That's true. Okay, so
Thank
we're
you.
going to get ready to take a tour of ACES Museum. And please come out. Come and support this museum. Okay? Dr. Henkins have it set up so nice. And this is how much she wants to give back to the veterans in the community. And we're going to just walk through it. We thank you so much for just listening to this wonderful thing that this doctor is doing. And once again, she is the one that had received this right here, the leading physician of the world of 2020.
And I have to say a little thing
That is
about
just
that.
so awesome.
That's the second time I received it in 2019 for the same thing. We reverse kidney disease in black people here.
Yes.
Okay. And that's acknowledged around the world, but not here.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, absolutely. So we're going to take a quick tour, okay, of ACES Museum. And once again, we thank you for just listening to this outstanding interview that we have taken here at ACES Museum with Dr. Henkins. We thank you. Don't forget to vote, okay? Be with you in a moment.
This was the Vietnam Memorial's 800 pounds, and it was, we won the competition. The veterans wanted it to come here. So when the Philadelphia Inquirer and the Daily News moved to the suburbs, they just didn't want this to just be lost. And so it was sent here. And as you see, it was scratched during whatever that evilness that was going on. And we are going to encase it. So for Veterans Day, it will be encased.
Hello, I'm back. It's a Love Thing talk show. We are here right now with Dr. Henkins, and she's going to be discussing to you this outstanding ACES Museum for the veterans. Okay, Dr. Henkins.
Now, unfortunately, we're going to start at our item that was donated to us, and this was a helmet where obviously we have the bullet wounds and the veteran did not come home. And we need to understand that our motto here is every day is Veterans Day at ACES Museum. This is the White Rose exhibit, and this is very important because these were college students that stood up against Hitler. And they were surprised because they thought if they just exposed the atrocities that people would stand up against him, but they didn't. Their position was, we have a job, we're happy with it. This is a tribute to the women that served during World War II, because during World War II, all women volunteered. That's very important. This is our tribute to black patriotism. This is a painting that was given to us from the Pentagon to acknowledge our work at ACES Museum. And these are the 7 medal honor winners during World War II. Okay, we would like to bring attention to our Native American Indians in World War II, and that's in the book. And they actually didn't have to be drafted. They volunteered because they understood if the Axis parlors won, there would be no Native Americans. Over here we have fascism and racism that the blacks had to fight. And here is the unbelievable coat. Got to be a size 0 for the 688s. They were the only black-white unit to go overseas. And here we have our snuff boxes. When you read in there, the reason why we have the snuff boxes is because when people were doing snuff, they didn't know the effects of tobacco, just like now they're doing vaping. And finally, we're going to show you some of these postcards, very derogatory postcards and stuff for the black veterans that they had to go through. And here is Sam Hill. He's United States Army. And what they did, they said they would tip our hat. They were so tired of the degradation and being treated like monkeys and children that their act of rebellion was to tip their hat. So if you knew that they tipped their hat, that they were standing proudly as men, and they did it. And up here, you'll see my favorite picture right here. You'll see that there. That is reproduced from Carlisle Military Library. And what does this say? Happy GIs headed home. No black, no white. 1945, all brothers heading home. And that's what this museum is about.
Yes, that's wonderful. I have to really give you a hand, Dr. Henkins. You're doing such a wonderful job. Such a wonderful job. Okay, so that will conclude this talk show that we have today on Dr. A.V. Henkins. It's a wonderful thing that she's doing. We're here at ACES Museum, 580103 North Germantown Avenue, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19144. Please come in. Please, let's donate. Let's do a great thing for her. And remember, Doug, can we have you coming forward, please? This is the co-host of It's a Love Thing talk show. would you like to say anything to do conclusions on this particular day?
I'd like to tell everyone, once again, this is at 5801 Germantown Avenue in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19144. And there's so much history that it's amazing, that some of the items that she has in here. Every item has a story. And I'm going to say that again. Every item that's in here has a story.
Yes.
This is very important. This is our history. And when I say our, anybody that's a U.S. citizen, white, black, Latino, Asian, anything, this is our history, folks. So if you get a chance, you probably have to make an appointment to come up here to see because of the COVID-19.
Yes.
But please don't miss this. This is very, very important.
Okay.
Thank you.
Also, don't forget to vote. Voting is so important. All our lives matter. It matters when you put your count in. This is a year that we really have to vote.
Yes.
Let's vote. Whoever you choose in your heart that you want to vote for, that's fine. Okay, because you know what you want out of it. But it's important that all of us get out and vote. I would like to also thank once again Brett Jolly. He's one of our producers, and he's the audio person that's taking this video right now. We thank you so much. You continue on having all blessed days, and let's get together and unite together with unity. Thank you.